Hello there. In this video, I'm going to show you how to export any article or content you generate in Flex to your WordPress site. Okay, let's get started. So first, if you have any workflow, you can go ahead and click on the edit button. Or if you want to start a new workflow, you can go ahead and click on the new workflow button. And then you can start a blank workflow, or you can also use any of these templates. And then go ahead and click the edit button. Okay, so for this specific template that I set up myself, what you want to do is you want to zoom in, and then at the end of the workflow here, what you want to do is to add a new output block, which is the export to WordPress output block. Okay, and then you want to choose your WordPress site from the dropdown. If you don't have a WordPress site connected yet, you can go ahead and click on edit and then click on new site, and then you can go ahead and connect your site. If you don't know how to do this, you can watch one of our tutorial videos on how to connect your WordPress site. So I'm going to go ahead and choose SurgeGraph. And then you can also choose the type, whether you want to export the content as a post or a page. And then you want to connect these sockets with the relevant sockets. So for example, we have the title socket. So let me just find the title prompt. So it's this one. So you want to connect that so that the title gets exported. Okay, and then we have the content socket. So you want to connect that with your content. Mine is here in the merge step. So I'm going to connect the output socket with the content socket. Okay, and then you can go ahead and click on execute. So per usual, you can enter your target keyword. Customize your settings. And then click execute. It will take a few minutes for the execution to complete, so let's just let it run for a bit. Okay, so the execution is complete. Now you will see under output, there will be two links. So if you click on the WordPress URL, you will see that your content that you generated using that workflow has been exported to WordPress. And then you can go ahead and revise or tweak the content before you publish. Now going back to Flex, let's just go over all of the output blocks that we have so that you can understand how to use them for any workflow that you build. So the output blocks are meant to decide what happens to the final output that you generated, whether you want to download it as a PDF file or you want to export it to WordPress. These are the things that you can do with the output blocks. So right now we have 4 types of output blocks: save as document, export to WordPress, and webhook. So for the save as document, what it does is it saves the document that you generated as a document in the SurgeGraph Vertex document dashboard. So for example, the workflow that we just executed just now, I had a save as document output block set up. So if we go back to the execution, under output, we have 2 links. One is the WordPress link, and the other is the save as document in Vertex link. So if I click on it, so it appears as a document in SurgeGraph Vertex, and then you can go ahead and use this to tweak your content, or you can also auto-optimize and do all of the usual stuff that you can do in SurgeGraph. So more specifically, it will be shown as a document in the listing here. Okay, let's go back to Flex. So the next output block is export. So let me just drag it here. Okay, so what the export output block does is that you can download the output as different file types. So if you click on this drop down, we have HTML, docx, PDF, and Markdown. So let's say you want to download the final output as an HTML file. So you can go ahead and add this export block. And then per usual, you can connect the relevant sockets. So the content, the output should be connected to the long form socket, and the title should be connected to the title socket. Let me just drag the title block here. And connect that to the title one. Okay, and if you want to download the output as maybe in Markdown, then you can go ahead and add one more export block. And then do the same thing, connect the relevant sockets. And then you can go ahead and choose Markdown from this block. Okay, so that's export, and then export to WordPress is what I just showed. And then you can also add a webhook block. So webhook is a way for you to send your generated content somewhere specific that isn't covered by the other output blocks. However, the external system needs to support webhook. For example, you can send your generated content to an external or custom CMS, to a Zapier automation, or even an internal tool that your team is using. So once you add the webhook block, you can go ahead and choose your method and then fill in the webhook URL and also the headers and payload. These two are usually provided by the tool that you're using. Instead of directly exporting any content you generate from the workflow directly to WordPress, let's say you want to edit the content first, or you want to optimize it, or you want to see the SEO score, then you don't need to set up the export to WordPress block in the workflow itself. You can just go ahead with the save as document block. But then once execution is completed, you can go into the document in SurgeGraph. And then once you're done tweaking your content and optimizing it and whatever you need to do, you can click on the export button here and click on export to WordPress. And then choose your WordPress site from the drop-down, choose your settings, and then click on export to WordPress. And it will do basically the same thing. Okay, so that's how you export any content you generated in Flex to your WordPress site. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other tutorials that you want us to cover and go over, feel free to let us know by emailing us at hello@surgegraph.io. Thanks for watching. Bye!